Hello, Oracles. Well, Tesla has rebounded since last week's sell off. So, whoever bought the dip, let me know in the comments below. Great job on that. We still do have those two gaps down below us. So, there's a lot of things that can happen. Election coming up, Trump getting shot at over the weekend could have thrown the entire market into a complete whirlwind. So, we have this uncertain turmoil that's going on. And I think it's only going to get stronger with the volatility as we get closer to the election. So, a lot of things going on right now. And one of the things I paid attention to today is with that rebound, Tesla shot up to bounce off of a very significant level that we had talked about last week, and it bounced right off of that and came down. So we'll take a look at what that level is today, what we could potentially see with everything that's been going on over the weekend, and what we may see happen over the next 3 to 6 months with the stock. If you guys like this kind of content, please hit that like button down below. All right, so looking at the movements today, we opened up and we had a tiny little gap and we filled that as the day opened. And then we shot all the way up here. We pushed up to that $265 level. This level here, and I apologize, I had to reset everything so I don't have my lines of support up here. But this is that 263 to 265 level that we talked about last year. This was one of those strong levels of support and a gap on the way down from that 313 level that we were stuck at. It took us a while to break through that. There were some gaps along the way. We kind of hit all those support levels. We hit it, stopped for a day, hit the next one, stopped for a day. And then when we hit this level, we were here for a bit of time before we ended up dropping below it. So, of course, support lines end up being resistance lines on the way back up and vice versa. So if you do have a strong resistance line on the way up, such as this one here, and we end up passing through it, that means it's going to act as a good support on the way back down. So here we are bouncing right off of this level again. And so we're kind of struggling to get past this. So you see two solid lines here, the 263 level, we kind of pushed up above that and just couldn't fully break out of it and stick above it. We poked up to 271 intraday last week, and then we poked up to that 265 today. So with earnings coming out just over a week from today, we might kind of see a little bit of consolidation going on, just in anticipation of waiting for what earnings are going to show us. And once we get past that, we've got other data coming out from the Fed with unemployment and CPE data that could end up changing and moving the entire market, which in turn Tesla may end up moving with it. And again, with all of the turmoil that we saw over the weekend, that could end up moving the market significantly one way or the other if things start to escalate. So I think if things were way worse than they ended up, today could have been a very ugly day. But with what ended up happening, Trump's position in the polls actually moved it higher, which most businesses want to see. So that could be good for the market. Hence why we didn't see the market falling down entirely today, saw some volatility. So we're just going to have to wait and see what's going on. Again, we're also this week going into earnings season. So this week, earnings season is starting. Netflix for tech kicks it off on Friday. That could be a big mover for the market as well. So earnings season kicking off. We've got turmoil going on with the politics and the election going on. These little things that we're paying attention to here could end up causing a lot of turmoil. Now, again, for you guys who are the long-term shareholders, this is one of those situations where you just sit back. And for me as a long-term shareholder as well, I just kind of teach myself and learn about the difference and nuances about why the stock price is moving the way it is in the near term, strictly so I can understand it. It is not for me to try and trade. I'm not a trader anymore. I tried that. It's not in my wheelhouse. It's something I probably could do if I had the time, but I don't. And I'd rather not get my emotions involved in things when I've got other sources of income coming in and I don't need that kind of stress. So I stayed away from that, but I still like to learn and understand it because I know many of you, and something that I've learned from the past when it comes to this channel is many of you thanked me. Like when Elon was selling his shares and the stock price was coming down, many people, even long-term shareholders, are trying to figure out why. Why is the stock price going down? This is something I fully, truly believe in long term. Why is it moving down in the near term? And the two things to learn are one, if you're a long term shareholder, don't worry about the near term. Two, one way to not worry about the near term is to understand it. Understanding typically helps us remove our emotions from what is going on. So, in that regard, I try to help you guys understand what is going on in the near term, why the stock is moving the way it's moving, so you can take your emotions out and not have to worry about it. Because there are some long-term shareholders that maybe be on the fence there. They want to be a long-term shareholder, but they haven't been as long-term as some other people who were maybe a shareholder before 2018 during all the Model 3 crisis and things that were going on at that time. Now, newer shareholders may still have that sense of urgency and misunderstanding about what's going on. So they're going to want to kind of have a little better sense of why is the stock moving the way it's moving. They haven't been through the hard times like many of you have before. This is why I try to explain it. And in this regard here, again, it's earnings coming up, PCE data, sorry, it's PCE data. PCE data is going to be coming out. Jobs reports are going to be coming out. We've got the unemployment revisions from last year coming out in mid-August. Obviously, the political stuff that's going on, election time is always uncertainty and volatile. So for you guys who are long-term shareholders, and you may not be as comfortable as a long-term shareholder yet, just make sure you take a step back and understand what the true fundamentals of the company are. Yes, they've been struggling over the last 2.5 years due to interest rates going up. They haven't been selling as many vehicles. We've seen the volume coming down. So on a fundamental level, that has been a struggle for them. Those are the things to pay attention to. But the other things to pay attention to are the interest rates are going to start coming down. It's not going to be an immediate bump up for Tesla, but when the market starts to look at that, they're going to understand that we will steadily see that coming down, and that will get priced back into Tesla. Tesla's fundamentals and sales will in turn go back up. If we get a recession, that could end up causing a bit more of a struggle for Tesla as well, but it'll be everybody market wide. So then you start paying attention to the fundamentals of, well, when is the robotaxi going to come out? And more importantly, when is that compact car going to come out? Because when you have a recession and people don't have as much money, they won't be able to afford the higher end vehicles. Yes, most people who buy Teslas are most likely not going to get hit by a recession as hard as others. However, it's still going to hit them. It's still going to affect them. So if Tesla can come out with a vehicle that's going to be in that $25,000 range, I'm not going to say it's recession proof, but it's definitely going to give us some recession protection when it comes to revenues and it comes to vehicle sales. So Tesla can then start moving those out to more people in the masses. Then as we come out of the recession, it'll just boom from there. Now, if we don't get a recession, it'll just boom as soon as we get that compact car coming out and we start hitting volume production. So those are the fundamentals. So I don't know if we've actually hit the bottom for the fundamentals, if we've hit the bottom for the stock price yet, because there's still so many uncertainties over the next 12 to 18 months. But when you're looking past that to 24, 36 months plus, it's looking very rosy and very good for Tesla. They have positioned themselves very well to weather this storm, a giant stockpile of cash, and they've got a lot of free cash flow coming in. So long term, you're going to be fine. So just keep that in the back of your mind when you see the stock price fluctuating up and down, which we may potentially see over the next 3 to 6 months with the volatility coming from the election coming up. So that's just a little piece I wanted to help educate you guys on. That's kind of what I've been here for in the past, is that voice of reason. And I do that on both ends. And I kind of get a little bit of hate when I do it when Tesla is running, and I kind of heed some caution out there about like, hey, like the stock's been running a bit hotter than it really should. For instance, the run that we just had recently from the good delivery earnings, that's awesome, but the true underlying fundamentals of the company haven't changed all that much. Earnings may show a very good number just because they cut a lot of payroll last quarter, but they also had to put out some incentives when it came to interest rates, so they may have to pay for that. Don't know how much that is. We also then don't know how much the FSD take rate was when they gave it free for a month to new Tesla owners. So lots of little things that could factor into this earnings, which is why I think we may consolidate going into earnings, just because people are curious about, well, what did they end up doing? What is that final number going to be? So I think when it comes to the actual fundamental structure of the company and how they're operating, they're doing well. I think they're going to be coming out of this. And the only thing that could cause a bit of turmoil from that regard, it would be a recession. And then, coming out with the compact car and how quickly they're going to actually come out with it. Robotaxi, I don't think is going to make that much of an impact. I actually don't even know. And you guys can let me know in the comments below. I haven't seen any confirmation or denial about the August 8th Robotaxi event. Maybe I just missed it. Typically, I would have seen it all over the place. But you guys can let me know if that has been confirmed or denied. Either way, it's one of those things where I don't think that's really going to move the needle as much as the compact car would, especially if we're going to get into a recession. So those are my thoughts on that. Again, that $263 to $265 level is that level I'm really paying attention to. If we can break above that and hold it, I think the next level from there is going to be about that $295 to $300 level, and then we watch it from there. If we end up breaking down, again, I'm following those gaps down below us at this 231 level and 213. So those are just the two ones I'm watching here as we go down if we start falling down below this and break down and cannot break that 265 level. So that's all I've got for you guys today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, what you think we're going to see for earnings. If you want, let me know about your thoughts about what happened over the weekend. I'm typically apolitical. I'm in the middle. I'm a centrist. I don't favor either party whatsoever. I kind of just observe what's going on and see people's reactions to it. So I have no problems with you guys commenting about it in the comments. Just be very respectful. I appreciate that. Full respect in the comments. If you are not respectful, I will delete your comment. But otherwise, feel free. I like the freedom of speech down there as long as you guys are respectful about it. So otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support. Have a great one.